Welcome, everybody, to CBN News Facebook Live. Today, we're talking about religious freedom, religious persecution, and standing for your faith in the public square. Our guest is Pastor Alvin Dupree, who is also a school board member in Appleton, Wisconsin, who has come under fire for speaking about Jesus as a school board member. Pastor Dupree, thanks for joining us and welcome. Can you tell us about some of the blowback you've gotten from your speaking about Jesus and God as a school board member?
Well, specifically, thank you for having me. Some of the blowback that I've gotten, essentially not even necessarily speaking up as a school board member, but just as a pastor in this community specifically. As I stated previously, when I ran for the school board, I actually put the fact that I am a pastor first in this community. As a matter of fact, on the ballot, I put Pastor Dupree, vote for Pastor Dupree. And some of those issues, some of the things that have arrived since actually running for the school board and actually been a part of the school board here was statements specifically that I made as a speaker during the graduation this past April, in which my daughter was a graduate. There was a few suicides that had taken place throughout that school year. And I made it a point as a pastor to state to the class that one of the things that makes me great, one of the things that make me who I am, is my openness about my faith and my personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And I made it clear that this is my personal beliefs. I was, in fact, the representation as a member of the school board, but I made it clear during that particular speech that I'm speaking regarding my faith. And I told the class that it is up to them to find what makes them great. But as for me, the individual, the man, Alvin Dupree, Pastor Dupree, it's my relationship with Jesus Christ. And the purpose of doing that is because I have received, as a pastor, some communication from one of the suicide victims' parents who related to me, you know, one of the reasons my daughter, and she doesn't mind me sharing this, and I asked for her permission, one of the reasons my daughter actually committed suicide was because she was bullied. She was bullied because of her faith and her openness about her relationship with Jesus Christ. So in that particular graduation speech, I thought that it was very much appropriate to make it a point to a graduating class that in life you may face some adversities. But don't let those adversities make you feel you must hide who you are and what you believe, no matter what those beliefs are. As such, I said what I said. I meant what I said, and I'm completely unapologetic about what I said regarding my personal beliefs, and to a graduating class who believe in various things. You don't have to hide that. You don't have to censor that.
So here you are, a school board member, also a pastor, speaking at the graduation ceremony where one of the students who should have been there graduating had committed suicide earlier. And her mother said the reason she committed suicide, or at least one of the main contributing factors in her suicide, was her daughter's persecution and bullying because of her Christian faith at school. And you addressed this bravely in graduation and got a lot of criticism for it. Even people criticizing you to the school superintendent, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. I received several letters of complaint, and the concern behind that is these complaints did not come in until 5 months after the fact. So I believe it was more of an intentional act to try to silence those who have faith like I have with being open about it. So those letters did come in. They were sent to the Appleton Area School District Superintendent, of which they were provided to me. And the position relating what I stated and how I stated it with clarity, and that these are my personal beliefs, I believe that I have every right to do so. And the position that was really reiterated, that even as a board member, I do not lose my First Amendment rights to stand up for and speak publicly about what I believe. The other opposition to that letters or those letters of complaints that came in was because I was invited as a pastor to speak regarding my personal beliefs as a pastor in this community regarding my faith at a Republican Party's gathering. As such, as a pastor in this community, I went with my choir, they sung, and I just openly made it clear that I believe personally as an individual that prayer, individuals should have the right to pray over their meals. They should not have to compress who they are as students within the schools. I believe just like every other organization within the school or committees or parties that are in the school who can be open about their various positions in life, I believe those of us who have faith should not have to oppress it and should not have to essentially be told that by being clear on who you are because of your relationship with Christ is something that's considered wrong. I believe it's offensive to ask those who have faith to be quiet or to suppress it or to be censored.
It's really amazing and shocking that that's come to this level. And haven't you also already been contacted by the Freedom from Religion Foundation, the national organization that is trying to silence religion in schools and the public square?
Absolutely. It's pretty amazing to me that this organization would go as far as to actually show up at a public board meeting, of which they did, I believe at least representation thereof, and actually leave this letter for me to let it be known that they want the administration, the school district in and of itself, to somehow guarantee them that I'm no longer going to be open about my faith, specifically when I'm standing up as an individual who just happened to be on the school board. I believe they both coincide with each other. I'm never in the state of trying to force my beliefs on anyone. And I don't believe that's the Christ-like manner to do so. Nor am I in a state to allow for the Freedom from Religion organization to try to force me not to be open about my faith. But they have essentially sent that letter, and they did essentially state to the school board and me specifically that they want answers and want essentially a guarantee that I'm no longer going to be open about my faith. And I can tell you, Julie, that is just not possible. Who I am is because of whose I am. Served my country for 20 years as a combat Marine. I believe that we have founding fathers of this great nation who put the importance of every person's voice matters. And I believe the majority view is just as important as the minority view. This whole freedom from religion, freedom push that they're trying to impress upon me, I believe it's a tactic of bullying, even by the definition of the word bullying. Defined as bullying being a deliberate or an intentional behavior using words or action intended to cause fear, intimidation, or harm. Well, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but a power and of a sound mind. I'm not going to force my religion on anyone, and nor am I going to be forced to be quiet. I've really come to a place, especially when I hear concerns as a school board member from the parent of Erika, who is one of the individuals who committed suicide because of her faith in the school, of which she called my office as a pastor and asked me to share this with the world, that part of her bullying that her daughter got was because of her faith in the public school. So for this organization to actually come at a board member, one of which who is there for the sole purpose of ensuring that all of our constitutional rights are upheld, to try to silence me, this is bullying in its definition and in action. So I believe as a man of God first, as I made clear when I ran for this particular position, and I put it on the ballot, Pastor Dupree, vote for Pastor Dupree. I believe we all have a right to express who we are and not be muzzled by anyone or any organization, nor should any school board, not just Appleton Area School District, feel pressure to somehow come up with some policy to contort and bend to satisfy the appetite of what I feel is the enemy, who is being used, who is using this freedom from religion organization to try to silence people such as me.
So you've gotten complaints from local citizens and the national organization, Freedom from Religion. Have you been asked by your boss, the school superintendent, to tone it down a bit? Have you been asked to change? You said you're not going to, but have you been asked by people in authority to tone it down a bit, to not speak about Jesus?
Absolutely not. I have not been asked to do such. They respect me as who I am, and I believe, just based off an impression that I have gotten from my peers who I serve with on the board, and from Judy Basement and others in the administration, there's nothing, and even with reaching out for legal counsel from a school district perspective, there's nothing that we believe that my actions have done, because everything that I've stated has been clearly identifying me as an individual. Even when I spoke as a representation of the school board, I made the statement very clear, and that these are my personal beliefs. And in response to 2 suicides that had taken place, one of which Erika was one, and I have permission to state her name, and Erika's mother and father really are thankful to me for having been bold enough to make that statement at the graduation ceremony, that my daughter was one of that class that was graduating. Do I feel that the Freedom of Religion organization is trying to put pressure on the school board, the administration, people of me who have the faith, to try to somehow censor me? Absolutely. But I believe we have a resolve to make sure that we have an equal voice for everyone, to include those of us who have faith, unless there's some sort of violation of law that has taken place. But at this state, right now, I have not been asked to change who I am or the position that I have. I've only been asked to ensure that I continue to make clear that these are my personal beliefs and not that of a collective school board, because I don't have the legal rights. And I've been in this long enough from a serving my community, serving my country standpoint, to know that that's not appropriate, nor will it ever be acceptable. And likewise, as a Christian, that's not what Jesus Christ did. He doesn't force his will on anyone. He's given us a free will, and we have a right to choose what we're going to believe.
Well, there's certainly a real spiritual battle, almost a legal battle as well, going on there in Appleton, Wisconsin, within the school district, and really in school districts nationwide. And Pastor Alvin Dupree, you are standing for your faith. You're standing for the cause of Christ. I know that a lot of other people in school districts across the country are wondering what to do, and you're certainly a leader for standing firm in your faith. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.